starting. And well, it's really looking like that it's going to be Arabia exactly as has been set in the game room. And yes, this is exactly Arabia. And looking at the civilizations, we are seeing basically the standard Mongols, Huns, Spanish, Mayans from both of the clans. So basically really proper mirror and standard civilizations in here. And let's keep it a bit open if there's going to be a bit of stealing from either clans. We see that blue who is actually on the flank? This is really so hard to see. That's orange, or rather, orange on the right side, of course, from LyF is one of the flanks from Youth Federation. Then yellow is another flank. It's going to be facing the gray flank in here, Lionheart, and another one at the top is going to be purple Manuel. Alright, so let's see who is going to be stealing something, or if anybody is going to be attempting to steal a boar. So far it doesn't seem so, as they are close to each other, so they are just going to be finding all the sheep in here and maybe even stealing from each other. Sometimes happens. And it's looking like that LyF are going to go for 2 stables for Bahé, and that's Spanish. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. He's going to go for some knights in there. So let's see. That's going to be working for him overall. Yep, they are just talking about all the stuff that they might be having to do. But so far, we don't see all that much interesting on the minimap, so let's just have a look around the bases and how's it looking with the extra resources and the overall wars and such. So double wars for Lionheart in the forefront, which he probably should be already knowing about. Let's switch into his point of view and have a look. Yeah, he has already scouted that, and he has already scouted that he's having also a bit more extra deer on the right side for Bilin, and also interesting gold and stone, to be honest. Some extra gold mines at the bottom, even one extra in here. Well, at this point, I'm kind of half thinking that he might be using the gold and the stone as part of the wall, even though it's not going to be ideal at all, as he needs to protect himself from some kind of archer raiding. But looking at this, yeah, LyF are right now saying that they are basically stealing each other's boar, it seems like. Yeah, it's almost looking like that. So that's one boar right now for Teal. Where is he having the second one? I have heard that villager. Oh my. Oh my, that's a problem. That's going to put him back quite a lot, and there really isn't any second boar, so he has basically really stolen a boar from his ally, exactly as I was talking about it a bit earlier. And where are the double boars for red? One at the bottom. Second one is where? Ah, in here, yeah. So he has really stolen a boar from his teammate. Well, he definitely won't be thanking him for that, but look at how this boar is in a pretty decent position for the teal player to take as well. It's of course not going to be mattering all that much and shouldn't be all that much of a problem for either of the players. You can also see that Manuel is also at the top working his way to basically lure the deer closer to the town center so that he doesn't have to mill it even though it's pretty far away. Looking how he's going to be finishing with the boar pretty soon, he kind of needs to hurry up, but he at least does have some sheep, so if he isn't successful fast enough, he's still going to be having some extra food that could be a pretty good position for himself. Yeah. Oh, he's actually giving him the boar back. Oh, that's nice. These are some nice manners in here, but he really should be killing it rather soon so that he doesn't have rather get some extra damage from the boar in here. Yeah, let's shoot a bit. And that was nice. That was nice deep play. He has first stolen the boar from him, and he has given him, or rather made sure that he's going to be giving him the second one so that he actually doesn't lose some melee time. And that's exactly what you need to do in a team game to help your teammates. You can see that Grey is also luring the second boar inside, or is it the first one? Should be the second one. There is already the skeleton, rather carcass on the right side of the TC, and otherwise there's a bit of raiding already inside the base of Yellow, who was just now discovered by Grey, and he was at least trying to kill, or rather put some damage into the villager, making it a bit easier to be killed in the next ages, of course. So first few village is going to be for Manuel, who is playing as Mongols, so let's see if he's going to be Russian. So far it doesn't seem so. Seems to be pretty content with playing basically the standard strategy, which would be for going for scouts. I'll be thinking, whereas in the pocket, you should be expecting basically a full-on boom from the blue player, and of course the same from the green one, which are quite interestingly right next to the wall. They are really far away into the pocket, which should make it quite easier for them to defend, and also, conversely, to boom for themselves and really be quite a strong force to be reckoned with in the later game. So Gray right now working on walling himself in, and he's of course going to be Drashin as well. Looking how he's Spanish, so let's see if that's going to be effective. It's going to be facing yellow, who is Hans, and isn't really prepared for that because you can see there is absolutely no walling going on. Like, absolutely no. It should make the Drashin quite a bit easier for the Grey player, and let's see if he's going to be effective in that. So far though, he really needs to hurry up, because Punkflat is already going to be into Feudal Age, with the last militia right now being built, and well, let's see. There's going to be anything that he could be doing against that. So exactly as we predicted, Mongol going for scouts with the stable, whereas Orange is just now finishing with the barracks, and what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Orange is JRF. Now we'll be expecting at least a few spearmen, because he will need to protect the gold at all costs. It's not a really good position for him at all. Right now he's spending a whole lot of wood, actually trying to secure his wood line. Good idea, but he should be doing the same basically for the gold, as without the gold, yeah, there's not much that you can do in Age of Empires. Even though it's much better than, for example, in Age of Mythology, because of course you do have, for example, the spearmen and skirmishers, but they are not good enough past Castle Age, of course, as you would expect. Field player in the pocket, not doing anything substantial, also not walling himself in, and that seems to be basically a theme from LyF. They are not really walling themselves all that much, and I think they are going to be paying for that quite strongly. There was a bit of raiding at least by Bahei, trying to find what his opponent, the green player, is doing. And how's it looking with the Drash then? So they are entering the base. And unfortunately for him, the arch-change is already done for Punkflat. Let's switch into his point of view. With the scout from the grey player done and archers coming in for the Hun. So of course that's going to be archer, a bit more archers for Hans, and that's of course going to put the Drash, yeah, into the closet, as that's not going to be effective at all. Those archers are of course going to be having a very easy time getting rid of that. In the meantime, we see that actually Manuel is not really raiding his flank. It's quite interesting, as he's hoping that he can have a bit better luck in the pocket, and he definitely can, because the pocket is not prepared for this at all. You can see he's just now going for stables, as he's Mongol, and going to be hoping for a similar strategy to the purple player, who is just now going to be raiding him, but with a very nice reaction just about now. Protecting the villages, this is going to work for him quite nicely, but at the same time he needs to do something else. Not exactly sure where he wants to go right now, but of course he will be needing to build lumber camp very soon. And is there enough room for it? I'm not all that positive. In the meantime, this also means that Manuel is going to be switching somewhere else into the other pocket. And there's not any kind of protection in here, even though he is preparing for blacksmith and a fast castle, of course. With Spanish preparing stables for the knights, he is of course going to be quite a bit late and going to be susceptible to some kind of raiding from Manuel, who is just now entering the base from the back. Yep, right now Gotcha telling him a bit late. Let's see what they can be killing. Well, this villager seems to be pretty much toast through the downs. Oh yeah, and there's still going to be a lot of lumber release in here on the right side at the top, because they don't seem to be, yeah, working themselves into some defense fast enough. And this was a very nice corner situation and very nicely placed. Very nicely played, because that's going to be another villager dead for the teal one, and right now he needs to retreat as the spearman is finally up with the defense. At the bottom there's still a bit of drushes coming in. Oh well. And they are going to be trapped. Oh, that's some creative thinking by Punkflat. As he's most definitely going to be having a bit of troubles getting out of this palisade wall, especially if it's going to be at least a bit upgraded and repaired by the yellow player. Yellow player in the meantime is basically turning the tables, as he's going into a bit of a raiding with the archers, skirmishers and the scout, and let's see if it's going to be effective. He doesn't want to be in such close range, as that's definitely not going to work for him. You can see that even the villagers are strong enough against feudal age army, and he is running into the trap. Oh my, I'm fully certain that actually Grey should have should have gone with the builders in there, basically slaughter them. He would lose like maybe 2-3, but he would be getting rid of all the army and basically make his life quite a lot easier. But right now with the tower, it's going to be working as well, as that's definitely not something that he will be all that happy about, the yellow player. Otherwise, not much happening in Green's base, as he's just working himself into pretty tight walling, as he's just going for castles, and we have heard a bit earlier some talks about archers, of course, and that's definitely going to be happening in here, as he's going to be attempting to help to his teammate on the right, who is having, yeah, pretty deep troubles against Punkflat, and let's see if the help is going to be fast enough and strong enough, because right now they are almost or fully. They seem to be actually fully trapped inside, and well, good luck getting from this. They are probably getting killed sooner rather than later. The blue player right now amassing inside the purple base, as purple is moving forward or rather backside, basically trying to make sure that his army is composed together. And well, how's it looking in here? A bit of knights against archer raiding from GRF. GRF was basically attempting to do the same strategy as Punkflat on the other flank, sorry. And is he going to be successful? Probably not all that much, because the knights are in pretty decent numbers, and even though he is attempting to run into pretty nice close quarters, basically disallowing any kind of huge amount of knights dealing with them, they are still just archers, and that means that they are fighting feudal age against castle age, and that's usually not going to end all that well in Age of Empires. So all the army from Orange basically dead, so he should be switching into castle age, which he exactly is, and into some better army than he's having right about now. And with the plumed archers coming into fun in here, trying to help his teammate Lionheart, they should be more or less enough, as they are basically stronger in every possible way than just the archers from the yellow player, who is still in feudal and not even advancing into the castle age. Castle coming also from Manuel with bloodlines. So that's the Mongolian player, maybe even switching into knights before he switches into Imperial Age and Mangudais. And well, yeah, this is just inevitable. Now this is going to end for the yellow player, but they still need to be a bit more careful, because Steel is joining with knights, finally, and that's going to mean that either the grey player should finally be doing something, or he will be needing some extra help from the blue one. Let's see what's going to be the truth in here, as third TC is just now finished for Oscar H, so he's basically booming in a normal way. And let's turn on the chat yet again. There's still just one TC inside the purple base, and otherwise that's pretty much it, as finally Punkflat has broken through his prison wall and going to be attempting to maybe go for a bit of raiding onto Gamin, together with the help from Bahei, and let's see how successful they can be. Potentially quite a lot. Oh yeah, that was a bit late. I kind of thinking that actually Bahei was hoping that he can go through and do a bit more raiding, better than the archers with the knights in here, but right now he is going to be switching into full-on pursuit of all those plumed archers, and with the hill on a pretty good position in here, it's looking like that yellow with teal should be owning the battles on this part of the map. There's also going to be a bit of a switch at the top side, where blue is attempting to raid orange together with right now with purple, both having knights, but with the knights from also Gotcha being in the orange's base together with crossbowmen already. Well, it's looking like that LyF are going to be having a pretty interesting situation on their hands, and much more interesting for CLBs, because they are definitely not having an easy game here at all. Switching to Kevin's Gotcha, that's definitely a good idea, as he is Mongol and going to be helping against all those knights. Quite definitely, and with the castle age coming for Punkflat, we could be expecting also crossbowmen in here as well, as he is having a pretty nice line of sight, this slumber camp. Yeah, that's the problem when you are making too tight walling. But with the castle being finished quite nicely for the Spanish, producing some conquistadors and Siege Workshop producing some rams, it should be reasonably in its power, and not even this tower is going to be standing for much longer. Nicely built by yellow player, but it's not going to be working any longer. Those poor militias still being cornered behind the palisade wall that is just now being repaired, of course, by the yellow villager. And, well, they are probably going to be spending the rest of the game in here. Unless some kind of town center or some archers or anything is going to be getting rid of them. Well, at the top side, of course, the battle is not going all that well for CLBs as they maybe hoped with the double knights. And once they see the camels right about now, they are going to be thinking that they really need to retreat, and they are most definitely correct, because there was a pretty nice hill with hill bonus for the crossbowmen and their numbers. I don't really see how even the knights could be strong enough, especially with the support and tanking of the red player in here. So nicely played, with university being built for the orange player. And let's check the economies, for example. The Mongol for CLBs is so far having 2 TCs, so there is still one to be built somewhere. Blue player is having 3 TCs, so that's pretty much standard. Green one, 1, 2, 3, also standard build up. And, well, everybody is in castle age. Let's check. Absolutely everybody. Still just 1 TC for the Spanish player, but he was heavily raided, and you can see that the army is already coming in with the help from Gamin, and he is having a pretty decent army right now himself. With those 3 conquistadors, they should be pretty much fine with the help of the Mangonel against any kind of crossbowman. He's also having a TC outside. Oh, I've actually missed that, and that's a very important one because it is capturing the gold, which is, of course, the most important resource in here. And even though he has lost a lot of villages right now to some crossbowmen fire in here, they are having a bit of fun with the Luffys, that still was well worth it, and this TC is going to be proven quite important for the next game. CLO is retreating back, having himself so far 2, building 30C. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much standard build up for him as well. Otherwise, another pocket in here. 3 TCs for the deal player, quite nicely prepared for this economy, and the red one is having 1, 2, 3, so he potentially can be a much more problem, or rather 4th. Huh, that's a bit too much, I think. But if he can manage it, he's going to be definitely a lot stronger Mongolian player than the one from the opposing team. So let's see how successful is that going to be for him. Suicide defender. Not sure, but they are definitely moving a bit forward in here. And oh well, let's see. That's not going to work all that much. 0 plus 2 and just 1 plus 1. Okay, so actually the Pluntaches are not all that upgraded, whereas the yellow crossbowmen are. Just fighting on the hills in here, but I'm thinking that they are having a bit more extras in here on the left, and the stream has ended for what reason? Maybe some kind of save? Let me check quickly. It seems like that's probably crashed or something. But hopefully they have it saved. But in the meantime, let's have a look a bit around. How's it looking at the top, for example, where it seems like that red together with orange are advancing quite nicely forward into the position in here. And well, we are probably going to be restoring. So yeah, not really sure, because you can see that JRF are also out. Manuel is will be crashing, so it's looking like that we should be restoring. So okay, let's have a look at the post game. In the meantime, and rather wait for the restore to come. Are going to be seeing anything interesting in here? Not really. Don't see anything out of the ordinary so far. Just the villager highs in here for CLBs. Well, 56, 66, 51, and last on 71. That's the strongest echo for Gamin for CLBs, but LyF are having much better ones. 80 for the Mongol with the 4 TCs, and then 53, 63, 52. So it's really looking like the actual LyF are having a much better game in here. So they are kinda on their way. Let's turn on the fog of war, and we are going to be entering into the battle at the top, which is quite strongly going, of course, for LyF, as they are having the advantage of the camels in here, countering all those knights from their opponents. They need to be careful to advance quite soon, because otherwise they might be facing a bit more knights that even the camels could be handling, as camels are kind of softer counter. They are not really all that of an effective one. when there are big numbers of the knights, especially cavaliers and such, but since we are not even in Imperial Age, that's not going to be all that much of a problem. And interesting stuff happening in here, as Punkflat is going for ballistics and thumbring, whereas JRF for leather archer armor. This is definitely going to help into the crossbowman, but oh, careful. You don't want to find yourself in a tough situation. You might want to go for the tight spot behind the palms. Could be a pretty sweet spot for you, but you also need to be wary if maybe, yeah, Siege Workshop is coming up for the Mangonels, and then it would be a bit of a problem for him. At the same time, at the bottom, there's not much happening, as Yellow with Teal are taking a bit of a pause from the offensive, as it's almost looking like that Gamin together with Lionheart are going to be the ones taking the reins of the offensive in here, with yet another TC, the third one for Lionheart being built, and already fourth one. So they are also going quite greedily for it, and let's see if it's going to be a good idea or not. So far, not really much happening, as probably Teal going to be going somewhere. Yeah, they're just basically waiting for them, you can see it in the chat. But there's a bit more battle happening at the top. And yeah, Orange is basically trying to run into... Oh, no. He didn't really run into the tight spot all that well. There was a bit better spot for himself, but if there aren't enough reinforcements from Gotcha, this is going to be absolutely terrible slaughter, because you can see that the knights are in pretty big numbers for CLBs, and this is exactly, I was just talking about it like half a minute earlier or a minute earlier, that once the numbers are too big of the knights, they are just going to be killing even the camels and literally anything that LyFs are having, and this could be game breaking for LyFs. This could be basically game breaking for them and game winning for CLBs, because they have just now eliminated the whole army of both Orange and Red, which means that they are going to be fully into Radiant right about now, and if they are going to be advancing into Imperial Age exactly as their teammate Gamin is at the bottom, well, Bahe is going to be first one into Imperial Age and Cavaliers and such. Still, this is going to be pretty heavy Radiant for them, and they are in for something they did not really expect and want at all. Right now this castle needs to be finished sooner rather than later, even though it's not going to be finished. There's like absolutely no way, and this huge army coming his way, there is not any kind of way in this universe that they are going to be able to defend against this, and this could be quite an unexpected turn of events right about now. Before the save, it really looked like that actually LyF were winning, but right about now it's looking exactly the opposite. It's something that we did not expect all that much, but it is most definitely happening, especially with fighting with the crossbowmen below the hill, and not even using the hill that is having the houses on top of it. So, oh, this is horrible. The castle might be coming up with at least a bit of luck, but he might actually want to task absolutely everything in here to finish it, because if he doesn't finish with the castle soon, it's of course not going to work all that well for him, as he's not even maybe going to finish it. Just about now all the knights are inside his base, and with the Imperial Age coming from Manuel, yes, all those knights from purple are going to be turning into cavaliers very soon, and not even the Imperial Age and cavaliers from Bahe are going to be in the bottom side, because at the bottom there's not much happening. Let's have a quick look in there. Just Yellow trying to find something to kill with the cavalry archers, having a bit of fun, engaging at least the plumed archers and preventing them from going into offensive on his base, as he is quite nicely defending with Teal switching into the pocket, it seems like, on the left, as we are here again waiting for some players and hoping that he can kill something in here. Potentially he can. There is a way into the base of green, so there could be something to kill, and into the blues base of course as well, so he could be wreaking quite a lot of havoc in there, but I'm not exactly sure it's going to be enough, because right about now we could be basically saying that JRF is basically dead. Even though he's still gathering a lot of resources from the extra TCs and building barracks, he's going to be losing this TC, and much more importantly, he didn't finish the important castle as a Mayan, and that means that he's not gonna get any plumed archers, which are the unit in castle age to be built for him. And even though he's going for scale mail, armor and pikemen, I'm slightly worried for him that it might be a bit too late, as there is all too many raiding going on inside his own base. He's also dropped to just 54 villages, which is by far the least of all the players, and even though the other LyFs are having 137, that's a pretty nice boom from Gotcha, and 94, 97, really JRF will need quite a lot of help, So far it is coming, at least from Gotcha, who is nicely boomed and is having the economy to help him. But he needs to advance into Imperial Age pretty soon himself and go for the Elite Mangurais, which is exactly the unit that is needed from the Mongolian player in the team. So it seems like the defense has been successful, at least for the moment. But yet again, the damage has been done and castle is being finished exactly on time. Yeah, exactly on time with the Imperial Age coming in from Manuel as well. And he's going to be a thorn in the side in here because Mangurais are of course going to be countering the camels quite nicely indeed. And of course also the pikemen. At the bottom there's a bit of an encounter, as there is an attempt to build a siege workshop, also most thinking that it might be castle, as that would be a pretty good position for a castle. But looking how he's pretty much content with the cavaliers and of course with the cavalry archers. Well, this is a pretty decent army and they may be quite ready to go into an offensive. So let's see. Gotcha advancing into Imperial Age finally as the Mongol with Oscar Age as well. So what's going to be right now the plan from LyFs? Because I think they should be advancing at the bottom quite soon. Going for conscription for faster unit making, but that's pretty much it. And cavalry is coming from Lionheart. So yeah, he's going to be fully switching into the stable. So far having just 2. Yeah, could be using like 5 times that number. As 2 is most definitely enough, especially since 1 is going to be spent for the resources, rather for the researches. But well, he thinks that so far it is enough. Going for another stable finally, and it seems like that so far it is. In the meantime, Blue is switching from the flank player into the pocket, trying to raid a bit into the Mongol. But let's see, because the Mongol is very nicely boomed at 148. Basically the best economy by far of all the players. The second best is CLB Oscar H at 125. But well, let's see, camels right now meeting with the knights. Oh yes, they are. Quite nicely noticed, so that's going to be extra free damage for them. Definitely nicely done. And let's see if actually red can be the deciding factor in the game right now for LyFs, because he's nicely prepared. Another university, being built. Triple castles is pretty much fine for the start, and he is of course having a pretty decent army of camels. So if he can maybe find himself a good position about here with the castle, so that he's closer to the battlefield, he still might be in a pretty good position to be of big help to his teammate Orange, who definitely needs to somehow get back into the game, as he is in a tough situation, being still in castle at just 59 villages, and the time are pretty bad for him right about now. At the same time, at the bottom, there's a pretty good chance that Bahei, together with Pankvat, could be coming forward, even though there's a pretty decent number of plumed archers that are already elite, and with pretty decent upgrades, 5+4 into attack and 2+4 into armor. Cavalry is coming with 12+1, so not really good attack from them. And how's it looking for the grey player? Not even any kind of attack on attack, rather upgrade on attack, and just 1 upgrade onto armor. So they are going to get absolutely leveled in here. And look at how he's not going for any extra upgrades, the grey player. This is going to be just a horrible slaughter of all the pretty expensive units that cavalries most definitely are. So if yellow with teal play this correctly and use actually some siege like battering rams to basically tank damage from all those plumed archers, they could be still in a pretty good position to attack. But right now they are losing the initiative to the green player, and that's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. They need the siege to tank all the damage in here. Right now it seems like that the grey is basically saved, whereas at the top you can see that red is having pretty decent army, just now ready to go into offensive. He has built a castle to basically protect his teammate, who is going into Imperial Age. And first paladins be coming for blue, for Oscar Age. Conscription for him as well, forging for JRF. So he's probably going to be sticking with halberdiers into the Imperial Age, which is definitely going to be needed against all those knights from the blue one. There are going to be paladins pretty soon, and otherwise iron casting for Bahei and cartography. Yeah, not anything interesting, just gaming going for halberdiers, that is interesting. So he's going to be also, as a Bayan, switching into that to protect himself against all the paladins that are bound to be coming from the teal player pretty soon. Switching into Bahe as we are apparently having a bit of luck in here. Lag in here. Having decent amount of resources, so he's going to be researching into Paladins pretty soon. He's just waiting for that. And looking at the economies, we are seeing 150, 120, 122, 68 from LyF. Well, that's some good economy from them. It wasn't, of course, for JRF getting quite nicely rated. And for CLBs, we are having 137, 74, 122, and 111. So not bad either. Not bad either, but slightly better for LyF and for a bit longer period of time. There's also a bit of raiding attempted by Teal in Blue's base. Not sure how effective is that going to be, but it could be quite effective at the same time, because there's probably not going to be all that much of a defense by Blue. And there is a quite nice attack by him right into the heart of LyF, who is Gotcha right now, and he's probably going to be having a bit of troubles in here, especially since the Mango dice from Manuel are also coming in. So that's a pretty nice double and pretty surprising one, which is of course going to be used by Red to raid himself, but let's see who is going to be a bit more effective. I'm kind of thinking that Red can afford it a bit more, because he's already upgraded and such. Nicely upgraded, you can see. Not fully, but nicely indeed. Even though his opponent Manuel is not really far away. With the upgrades, the same could be said about the Cavaliers from Oscar H. And looking at the bottom, well, there seems to be a bit more advance by the Green Archers, who are trying to attempt a bit of a breach of the opponent's base. There is a hole inside the base in here, as we are getting outpost, it seems like. But with all the knights from Teal player being in the position almost, it seems like that they might be quite fine to deal with the threat right here. Still need to be careful about the proper timing. Yeah, he needs to run away from this, but he also needs to finish with the wall, because without, yes, at least the castle is going to be a good idea. Without finishing with the wall in, he's still going to be quite vulnerable to raiding exactly like this, and that's not something that will help him in the long run. Paladins clicked in from Bahe as well, exactly as we have seen a bit earlier. As the super strong army of Cavaliers, soon to be Paladins, is entering the base from the other side. So that's going to be a pretty nasty surprise for Teal, who's going to be losing a whole lot of economy to both Mango dice and of course also the Paladins. And right now Gotcha seeing exactly that. And yep, that's a pretty big problem for them, as this is going to be very important raiding into the economy of one of the key players of LyF. At the same time, Red is doing basically the same, attempting to raid his opponent. What is happening for now? Yet another drop. It seems like that yet another player has dropped, so it's going to be second restore. This is turning into a bit of an annoying game, but at the same time we can have a look a bit around. We can have a bit of look around as the markets are being started at the bottom. For CLBs, yep, they are most definitely going for that. So, pretty heavy raiding inside the bases in here for both Teal and of course Purple by the Red player. Let's have a look at the achievements here again and wait for yet another restore. Restore number 2 in here. Oscar H having pretty strong economy. It's like. But Gotcha having still the most villages. Oscar H being, well, quite close to him right about now. Alright then. And we are in. And exactly where we left, and that's getting rid of the town center inside the Teal's base. So, Teal is getting quite heavily hammered right about now with the raiding from both Blue and the Purple player. So that's going to be a huge loss of resources and villages, of course, as he's dropping from 120 already to almost 100. Whereas on the left side, we are seeing similar raiding onto Blue from Red. Also raided by Teal, who is having a few Paladins in here, and let's see if it's going to be somehow effective. So far he definitely has a lot of villages to kill in here from Blue, so Blue is definitely going to be dropping quite a lot. He was having 140 just before, and right now he's dropped to 120 and is even dropping further, so this is pretty effective raiding right about now. And even though Purple is going to be attempting to help, it's going to be way too late and the damage to the economy has already been done. At the same time, Green is already attempting to push forward with Grey into the forefront in here, into Yellow. Looking how Yellow doesn't have really all that much of an army in here, just a few crossbowmen and such. But much more importantly, you can see that Orange, even though he is switching into some halberdiers to help a bit, and camels are finally finding their way inside the Teal's base as well from the red player, it's still probably not going to be strong enough as the damage has been dealt, and they are still continuing to raid the economy quite strongly. You can see that the drop is quite significant to 110 for Bahei, who is like 130 or some such. Oscar H was 140, right now it's 120. So basically 20 from both sides in here, and let's see how far this is going to go. Bahei right now is basically okay, exactly as he's saying, as he has been defended or rather helped by his allies. But let's see how well it is going to go somewhere else. At the bottom is basically waiting for something significant to happen, as those puntaches are basically waiting for paladins from the Spanish players so that they can move forward with some siege, but they need to be hurrying up because the yellow is also attempting to move a bit forward in here. In the middle, there's still a bit of extra stray paladins, but not really for much longer, as there is a lot of gold interested for Gotcha. Interesting for Gotcha, so obviously he wants as much gold as he can for his Mangurais, whereas there seems to be aiming. There seems to be growing some kind of army from both him and Orange. The Halberdiers, that's going to be a pretty strong position from him. Halberdiers with some skirmishers together with Mangurais. And well, if they can get some siege going in here, that's going to be very big problem for CLBs to deal with. They are right now going for siege rams, Manuel. Paladins for Lionheart, and otherwise nothing interesting. Not much. Fortune for Lionheart, Light Cavalry for Gotcha. So yeah, that's exactly what's going to be happening in here. Finally some siege coming in from LyF as well, but with the reinforcements of all the Paladins and the Mangurais coming in as well from both of these CLBs, this might not be all that easy for them. As even though Red is joining in earnest right about now, since he doesn't have to help his teammate in the pocket, it doesn't seem like the army is strong enough, especially with the pretty big numbers of the Paladins. Yeah, so that's basically goodbye Trebuchet here, and not any kind of siege as of yet. But somewhere else on the map, yeah, interesting positioning of the Blue Willies in here, quite close by to the opponent, and also interesting battle going to be happening right on the doorstep of Yellow, as he is right now going to be facing Paladins with Paladins. The Teal player is going to be having Paladins in here, and the Huns, well, I'm just waiting basically for him to switch into Paladins as well, even though he is quite content going for some other kind of unit so far, as he seems to be thinking that they need something to get rid of potential halberdiers that are already trickling in from the green player, and that might be a pretty good idea, but I would be favoring some kind of siege, like onagers, to getting rid of exactly the punt archers like these. So far it seems like that the green, together with Grey, are actually winning. Yeah, they are most definitely winning in here, even though Gil is sending reinforcements right now about it, but the very nicely upgraded punt archers are just stronger than the normal cavalry archers from Yellow. They are not even elite, rather heavy cavalry archers, and they are not even fully upgraded, so the result is a pretty resounding loss for them so far, even though looking quite nicely right about now from Pugflat, as he is switching into Halberdiers fully. So let's see how successful he can be together with the Paladins from his teammate, but looking at the amount of archers, I'm really not all that optimistic, especially with the Castle Fire in here, and overall this battle should be more or less equalish and definitely not aiming for some kind of big victory for LyF. How's it looking at the top? Yeah, quite convincingly winning. CLBs, as of course JRF together with Gotcha are not strong enough to deal with the Paladins together with the Mangurais. As even though you are having counter units like the Camels and the Halberdiers is just not strong enough, and the combination of those cavalry archers, name it Mangurais, and of course the Paladins is just too strong, and yep, this is the GG, and after 2 restores we are seeing that CLBs are going to be securing both wins in this match against Lost Youth Federation, even though LyF did have a pretty good chance of actually taking this game. It really looked like at one point before the first save that CLBs are going to be losing the game and having their match tied at 1-1. Well, unfortunately, yeah, right now fine. I was just a bit afraid that maybe the host has left a bit earlier, but he didn't, and it's a normal GG. Yep, nicely played. Even though it really looked like the LyF might be even pushing through at the bottom through a very nice spam of cheap trash units by Punk Flat, it's still not strong enough, as at the top the wing is pretty convincing for CLBs, and there wouldn't be anything that GRF together with Gotcha could be doing against this strong attack by them. Yeah, especially with right now Manuel going into the pocket, building military buildings right in the opponent's face, and yeah, of course that means that it's all that easier to send reinforcements into the battle, of course. So let's check the achievements. With Manuel being right now the MVP. And let's see how much of a slinging there was. I think there was some slinging going on. Gotcha the best from LYF. I agree on that. He was booming quite nicely. He was pretty strong, but the other players like Punkflat and Bahe were also how bad. And if it wasn't for the very unfortunate raiding of JRF, because they took a pretty bad battle in there right after the first restore, he might have been a pretty strong addition to the game as well. But when he lost all the army in there, he unfortunately didn't have enough to get back on his feet fast enough together with Gotcha, and the very heavy raiding from Manuel and Oscar H just was too much for him to handle. Yeah, a bit of slinging at the end, but nothing really major. Strong economy from Oscar H overall. Well then, GG. That was the second game, and if we correct the score,